Hey everybody, Mark over here at Twanger's Turntable. I hope you're all doing well. I'm back for another episode of my recent finds, pickups if you will. I guess this will be episode 8 if memory serves me. I think it's number 8. I'll leave a link to the playlist. Welcome if you're new. I really appreciate you stopping by. I hope you'll find something you'll dig. You'll stick around and see what I offer here as vinyl community content. It's just much like my fellow YouTube vinyl community friends, just showing records, talking music, that kind of shit. So nothing out of that spectrum. I don't get into much of anything else aside from records, maybe CDs and cassettes from time to time, but that's about it. So if you're new, like I say, welcome to my channel. If you're returning, much appreciated as always. I really do appreciate the support that I receive, and I try to reciprocate when time permits. It is a hobby. So just like many of the rest of my buddies out here in the vinyl community. So today, like I say, back for another episode of recent pickups. And if you're new, humor me. It's what I mean when I say recent. I didn't show a lot of my pickups from pretty much the beginning of the new year, late last year, in fact, probably from October, November. So we're coming up on a year worth of stuff I've been trying to catch up on showing. So I pulled quite a stack here today. I think I've got about 30, 35. I'm going to try and run through them fairly quickly. So I'm not going to elaborate on many. So these are new additions to nobody's vault but mine, as I like to say. and I've got new and used. I was mentioning to somebody else I'll mention in my video, but yeah, I've finally had a chance to go to one of the probably best record stores in Montreal, and I think I pronounce it AUX 33. It's AUX 33. I don't know if the French pronunciation is O, trois. I'm not sure, but it's on Mount Royal Boulevard, and I think it's Boulevard. It's in Mount Royal. It's an amazing spot. I've been to the place, and there's another one just down the street, Freeze on Rock, and I've been there. And but they've only got a fraction of the selection. I was blown away, so I did grab some. I'm going to show those. Those would probably be the most recent, aside from a couple of recent new releases that I had pre-ordered that finally arrived. Some I'm pretty stoked about. But anyway, so let's get to it. I think what I'll do is I'll start here, because I mentioned this before and I haven't had any takers, but I'll try and mention it. I just forgotten. So I have these outer sleeves. Who are these by? I can't remember who they're by. If you're familiar with that tag, that logo, maybe you'll know who they're by. It just says GV, but I don't use these anymore. And in fact, I received a whole bunch of them by mistake. They were a Christmas gift, and I've got a whole bunch more. Many of them are brand new, but I've probably got 300 or 400 of these outer sleeves. These are the ones that are slightly clouded, as opposed to these ones here that I use, that I prefer. They're completely clear. Well, I can see actually in the video they're not completely. There is a slight film, but much more so than these other. They do call them crystal clear, so I guess it's as clear as you can get. They're the same as the other ones I was just going to grab as an example. But so if anybody needs some of these, leave a comment below. Let me know. I'll try and work something out to get them to you. Canada Post here is awful. I probably wouldn't use Canada Post. Well, they're on strike again actually anyway, so that's out of the equation. But yeah, just let me know if you need some of those. Like I say, I've got 300 or 400 of them that are just sitting here, and I don't want to just throw them away. So let's get to it. So some of the recent, again, using the word loosely, vinyl pickups I picked up. This was that Ronnie James Dio project from 85, I believe it was, 86, Hearing Aid. So I saw that and grabbed it. It's the who's who of I use the word metal loosely, but that's what we called it back then. It's got Ronnie James Dio, Rob Halford. Most of you will probably know Kevin the Bro, rest in peace, from Quiet Riot. Yeah, Jeff Tate from what's the name of his band? I'm not really into them. Queensryche. Don Dawkins, Paul Shortino. There's just yeah. Everybody that was anybody back then was pretty much on this thing. Geez, I'm doing it again. It's almost impossible for me to do. Maybe that's why I don't get so many of these damn videos done. I just start going off like I just finished saying 5 minutes ago, less than 5 minutes ago when I started. I wasn't going to elaborate too much, but that's the 12-inch single, Hearing Aid. Yeah, it's got everybody right on front. Tommy Aldridge, you know, after he came in for Ozzy's live performances after Curse Lake, appeared on those first 2 albums. Played with them, of course, Whitesnake and many others, but yeah. Fantastic. And it's more of a memento. I mean, musically, it's not something I'm going to spin that often. It's just cool to have. This one here, I saw it, I grabbed right quick. I was just talking to this. I alluded to somebody I was commenting on their videos. It was Jason over Jason Skills. I think that's his channel name. I'll leave links, but yeah, this is the debut, Plasmatics. Wendy Orleans Williams. Yeah, she passed away quite early on. Lived hard and died young. But yeah, Plasmatics, if you don't know them, check them out. Really, you know, on that well, as far as female vocalists, there weren't many I would put in the same class as her as far as that early punk scene. And I mean, we're not in the infancy by this time. This is like 1980, so you know there's lots of punk that came before this, but it's really good stuff. And if you only know her solo stuff, I'd recommend checking this out. Any of these albums, this is the first one, like I say. But yeah, good stuff. I was glad to score that. Next up, some of these are doubles I already have, but I have something in mind. I'll probably send these out. I have a couple of buddies that I want to send some stuff out to. But yeah, it's 1980 Street Heart here, or 82, their self-titled one. I already have a copy of this, but I grabbed it for the cost of it. It was, and then speaking of Curse Lake, the Magician's Birthday with Uriah Heep. Love this. Yeah, I actually don't even have their debut yet, but love a lot of the Uriah Heep, and of course, there's Mr. Curse Lake there on the skins. Rest in peace. Yeah. So, and then I also found this one. I've been wanting this a while. Most of these I have on other formats too. So, I would suggest there's nothing here that's new to me that I hadn't heard before. Well, with the exception of one. I almost spoke too soon. I'll get to that. But yeah, 10 years after, Space and Time. Alvin Lee. And the drummer on here, his last name is Lee. I didn't know that, but there's no relation. What was his name? Rick Lee. Yeah, no relation. Alvin Lee. Fantastic. I love the song on here. Love to Change the World. Not so PC these days, but a fantastic tune. I mean, a good tune is a good tune, no matter what happens in our social world and geopolitical, all that, whatever. I mean, I don't get into that. But another one, Trooper Hot Shots. Have this. Just the best of Trooper, and saw it there for a good price. Thought it might make a good VCLT for somebody. This is a funny one. This one, Smoke and Fire. I've seen this before, and it's got a different cover with, what's his name? Such, the vocalist Such. It's probably right on here. No, it's not on here. That's funny. Oh, man, I can't remember his name. Lord Such or something like that, I think it was. It's got a different album cover. He's in a British outfit, standing next to a Rolls Royce or something anyway. But this has got Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck, John Bonham, Noel Redding, Nicky Hopkins. There's just an amazing list of musicians on here. It came out, it says 85, so long after Bonham had passed. But it's stuff that was recorded way earlier. And yeah, just a cool little record to have in my collection that I hadn't seen before with this cover anyway. I don't know if anybody else has. First thing that came to mind was my buddy Vance over at the Zepp Pro channel, because him and Gary, of course, huge Zeppelin fans. So if either one of you guys have seen this one, like I say, it's got two parts of Zeppelin on here, Page and Bonham. And of course, it's also got parts of the Yardbirds with Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page and Noel Redding, the old bass player for Hendrix. But anyway, yeah, I'm going off. Sorry, that's just the way it is. Hopefully I'll get through them. Now, I spoke about one that I hadn't heard. I'm going to have to wet my whistle here, folks, so let's have a cheers. One that I hadn't heard, although I did hear their first album, And I only heard it because I saw Steve over at A is for Alice, B is for Bob, and C is for Community. Speaking of the vinyl community, he showed their debut album, and I almost flipped by this because I didn't recognize it at first. And as I was flipping through, I thought, hey, that rings a bell. And it's Jane. I think these guys were out of, oh God, was it Germany? I think they're out of Germany. And so Steve showed their debut album. I think it's just self-titled Jane. I can't recall. And I did stream that one. It's really good. But I grabbed this one when I saw it. And man, it is killer. I mean, man, Steve, I feel like you were really kind of holding out on us and underselling them. Or maybe you weren't. Maybe that was just my interpretation. But it's really good. I've listened to this already a couple of times. I really dig it. So thanks a lot, Steve, for introducing me to this. I'm going to be on the hunt for more of it because, yeah, I really dig it. At least, like I say, I've only heard the first one via streaming, and then I picked this one up. It was the first one I played when I got home, and I've spun it a couple of times. It's really good. So if you've not heard of them, you can, first of all, thanks Steve for introducing me, and then check him out for yourself. I really recommend it. Early 70s. Did I say a year on that? I think this one was 72. Oh my, it's much later than that. Well, not much later. 75. I think maybe their debut was around 72 or early on. But anyway, yeah, Jane 3. This is their third, and it's really good. Next up, I found one of these. These are hard to find in this good of condition, and I didn't pay a lot for it. And it's School's Out, Alice Cooper. And the reason I grabbed it is doesn't have the panties and whatnot, but the legs have not been folded out from the vinyl yet, and the desk is still in good condition. And most importantly, the vinyl is actually in really good condition. I gave it a good clean. And yeah, there's some, it's a first press, so there is some little surface noise to it, but nothing that you really hear, that it doesn't dominate the sound once it starts going. Maybe on the lead in and slightly, it varies between certain tracks. You can tell which tracks were played much more than others. Yeah, so definitely glad to grab that one. And this, I've got a couple of these in my collection, but anytime I see it and it's a good price and good condition, I grab it. But Desolation Boulevard Suite, one of my favorites of all time, actually. My introduction to real, well, maybe not introduction, but around the same time that I was being introduced to the Sabbaths, the Zeppelins, the hard rock that would shape, my musical preference. And this, for those uninitiated, it's basically the North American release, with one side being essentially Sweet Fanny Adams, and then other songs. Chapman Chin wrote one side, and then the boys in the band pretty much supplied the tracks for the other side. Side 2, Sweet F.A., Fox on the Run, Set Me Free, Into the Night, Solid Gold Brass. Those were all written by Connolly, Priest, Scott, and Tucker. And side 1 was pretty much, it is all Chapman Chin. So, but fantastic. What a rocker of an album. What do you think about this for 1970? Some of the songs were written in 73, released in 75. It's a rocker. I love it. It's one of my favorites. And anytime I can package that to some of my buddies on a VCLT, I'll definitely try, because if you don't have it, I highly recommend it. Another one, such case, I already have a copy of this, but when I find a good copy of this, I grab it if I can, if the price is reasonable, again, and if the vinyl itself is in good shape, such is the case with this one. So I already have somebody in mind I want to send this out to, but it's a fantastic, this and A Whole World's Going Crazy, probably my two favorite April Wine albums, and that sways from day to day or listen to listen. Overall, I usually go this as my favorite, and Whole World's Going Crazy as my second, but again, it's depending what I'm listening to, really. Another one of my favorite bands from back in the day, I mentioned Sweet, and then Zeppelin, Sabbath, those heavier bands. These guys had a heavy sound at times. Nazareth. This is their second album, and If you've not heard this, it's got a completely different version of Woke Up This Morning, and it's really cool. It's just a really solid album. So is their first one. Most people don't know the early Nazareth, but if you don't, you're missing out, in my opinion. It's just fantastic. Next up, I already had a copy of this too, but mine is an old copy back in the day, and it's beat to shit. So I found this in a while. Stay Hungry. It was $10. That's Canadian, so for you folks down in the south of the border, that's probably like $6-7 US. So damn good price. And the vinyl is in decent shape, far better than the one I have. And this is an OG, so it's not the reissue. I know they just reissued it. And I did have it on my wish list to reissue, but I think I'll cancel that now and get something else because this one sounds amazing. So very, very happy to get that. Next up, this was one I don't have in my collection. I have their first 4, I believe, but all shook up by Cheap Trick, the one and only. Speaking of my buddy Gary, I know he's a huge fan, and Steve, being from that neck of the woods. Yeah, the vinyl itself is in good shape. When was this one? 1980? Did I say that already? I believe that was. Yeah, 1980, because I didn't have this one. But glad to get that one as well. And then I got these all at that store I was just alluding to. It's an amazing store. My wife and I are already planning, which is awesome when I can get her on board. And now she's interested in going because she saw some of the old vinyl that are hard to find elsewhere, and she's on board. So we're going down again next week and see what we can find. This, I already had a copy of this too, but it looked like somebody had put it in, I don't know if most of you are familiar with these what do they call them? These flatteners, the vinyl flatteners. So the copy I had, where I was going with that is, I think somebody had put that in, and it's, you can tell some of the grooves are distorted, and they were just, wasn't done very well. So I got another copy of this Swing by In Excess to Swing. What is this, 1985, 84, and yeah. So I dig these guys, some of their stuff anyway, not everything, but certainly. I think my introduction would have been the album prior to this. I don't remember, but. And of course, anytime I can find some Skynyrd, this is a good one. Skynyrd's first and last. The sleeve itself, the outer sleeve, is beat pretty bad at the top there. I don't know what happened, if somebody was putting in a shelf that was too tight, but the rest of it is in decent condition. So yeah, grab that. Oh, that's supposed to be, well, I mean, it is in decent condition in spite of this coming out like this, but it's supposed to come out. That's what the vinyl is stored in, but yeah. This goes like this, Mark. Get that back in there so it's not beat up too bad. Yeah, I've got it upside down now, but it's just a little booklet that goes in there. Part of the part of the jacket. There we go. So yeah, glad to get that. And the vinyl itself, like I said, is in really good shape. Yeah, probably very good. Very good to very good plus. For those that are using the Discogs method of rating. That's what I try and go by. It's usually fairly, well, it's hit and miss, depending on the seller, of course. And then a couple of ZZ Top to add to my collection I didn't have on vinyl. Fandango and Loco. Fantastic. Anytime I can add some ZZ, I will definitely do it. Now, we'll get to some of the newer stuff, and I think I've been at this now for 10-15 minutes. I started rolling my camera early as I was getting set up, so I don't really know how much time, but that's okay. I'm going to get through this. Let's have another cheers before we get moving forward. Spent most of the weekend unpacking a bunch of stuff. Yes, I know we've been here a long time, but in fact, in 2015, we moved across the country. I've still got bins I have not opened up since then. So yeah, 10 years. And some of that stuff was in cases before we packed it up and moved. So going through, one of the things I used to do, just a side note, is I used to collect these Xbox magazines. I've got probably a couple of hundred. They used to be in physical print for all you young chaps. And they used to come with demo discs in the magazine. So I've got a bunch of that stuff, and it's kind of neat going through that yesterday. some of these old, and of course I've still got my old Atari 2600 and my Genesis and all the old consoles I still have packed up there as well. So this was kind of neat when I came across this. It's from the old Sega Genesis system. It's got some of the old gear. I used to actually have this and gave it to my son when he moved out on his own, so I don't know what became of it, but the little Genesis portable, like a Sega Genesis portable, but pretty cool. It's just nostalgic stuff. It's kind of neat to look at some of the stuff I used to be interested. I still am, but I don't invest in anymore. So let's get on to the new stuff. And the first one from the Dead Weathers and Whorehound, Jack White and crew. Alison Mozart, I believe is how you pronounce her name, from the Kills. I really dig these guys. It's definitely not for everybody. I've heard varying opinions, but if you were going to check them out, it would certainly be the debut album I would recommend. It's a fantastic listen to me and essential, in my opinion. This is all my opinion, but of course, the Stooges. This is a reissue. You can see it on the colored vinyl here. But yeah, any of the Iggy Pop stuff, I do like. Pretty much anything I've heard. I know for some it's hit and miss, but I like it all, of course. And here's another one. Sometimes these certain releases will make you think of certain people in the violent community. This one there's a few people I might think of off the top, but being that they're a Detroit area band, I think of Trevor and people from that neck of the woods. Marcia, I know him and her and Trevor were the odd couple on the Sunday night Violent Confessions, with Steve being from Illinois. 69 debut album, Proto Punk Classic. Okay, so yeah, I don't know about all those terms or whatever, but it's definitely, I think an essential album, and it's essential for my collection. So there you go. Another one I was introduced by another vinyl community member, and it would be I don't know his real name, but it doesn't matter. Vinyl Richie and the Death Valley Girls. These are just from all the different channels I'll watch at different times, and he was showing. It was another album by these, but I've started digging into their collection. They're an LA band with a female-fronted, female vocalist, and I'm really digging them. This is on a funky neon colored vinyl. There's something else in here too. Oh, I guess there's a poster here. But it's just, it's got the lyrics and whatnot, but Death Valley Girls, Islands in the Sky. Something about that title rings a bell for some reason. Islands in the Sky. I don't know what the hell it is, but anyway. It's a good listen. Really like it. I've got a couple of theirs now, thanks to Vinyl Richie introducing me to those guys. Another one, this was the only one missing out of my Beatles collection. Or should I say my wife's and my mother-in-law who gave us the old Beatles collection. Most of it is very early, a couple OGs and some early reissues, but this is the only one I didn't have. Of course, it's really only half Beatles, with the other half being George Martin, but still need to have it because the songs on here by the Beatles are, not able to be found elsewhere, I don't think. I'm certainly not a Beatles expert, but something my wife and I do have in mind. She hasn't done a video with me in a long time, so we thought maybe that might be a fun way to get her on here. Is she's been a lifelong Beatles fan, so we're kind of going to rank the Beatles albums, our favorite, which is going to be hard for me because if you know, I don't rank albums, but I'm a fairly new Beatles fan, and by that I mean probably 30 years or so. Late 80s, early 90s, I got into them thanks to her. They weren't part of my world really at all before that. But anyway, nice to add that one. That's a reissue. And of course, this one I got probably several months ago, but I had never shown it as the Montrose album. The reissue. It's not an OG for sure, but again, for those uninitiated, it's Sammy Hagar and the early Ronnie Montrose, the early band. Includes previously unreleased bonus disc of demos and KSAN live radio sessions from 1973. KSAN, is that like maybe Kansas? I don't know. If you do know, let me know. But yeah, this Was never a fan of Hagar with the Zeppelin, or the Zeppelin, the Van Halen stuff, but I like anything he's done solo. I really dig it, so for whatever reason. But yeah, good to have that finally on vinyl. Like I say, had all these, most of these I've had, other than the ones I mentioned being introduced to on some other format previous times. And of course the 2000 shows, I think it was 2000 or 99. Yeah, no, this is 2000. Yeah, Jimmy Page and the Black Crowes at the Greek, live at the Greek, that's 2000. Ah, it says right there, US Tour 2000. Fantastic, love it. This isn't the grand super duper issue. I know there's one of those out there, but it is. It's really nice, and had to have it. And in fact, again, this is another one I've had for several months since it was released. In fact, but just have never shown it. It's got these nice inner sleeves, but I always take those out and I put them inside my jacket and put them in the rice paper sleeves. Just like those better. I know there's varying opinions about that. It doesn't matter. It's just what I prefer. I'm not trying to sway anybody one way or the other, or say it's better or worse. Just a preference. And the debut by Tracy Chapman. This was reissued several months ago. I think June maybe. I always had this. I always dig this on the Elektra. Yeah. Ironically, the song that made her famous, Fast Cars, was, I know that was the last one they recorded. It was one that she had for a while. They weren't gonna put it on the record, but they needed one more to fill it up, I think, as the story goes, and so they dropped that one on here as I think it actually turned out to be a pretty fortunate decision. Or a very well educated decision, depending on whom one asks, I suppose. But yeah, would that have prevented her from being as successful as she became? I doubt it. I think her talent would have won out. But hey, when you get to be my age, I know lots of people who are very talented and very capable musicians who just never got a break, or whatever the circumstances are. So who knows, right? Who knows? I certainly don't claim to know and say, yeah, definitely, but I suspect she would have been. Another reissue, I've had this all the time, but it's Upstairs at Eric's, Yazoo to many of you. Don't Go, Only You situation. And there is another version of this. This was on clear vinyl. The reissue is clear. I do have an OG of this one as well, just on the regular. But yeah, I think the European edition or something, there was something different about that, and it escapes me right now, but it was just the track listing. Damn if I can remember right now. Doesn't matter, look it up. I would like to provide that information, but I'm just going on the fly here right now, and it's not coming to me. I know there was the way the songs were sequenced, and a couple of the songs were actually different on the other. But yeah, I really dig that one. My Room, man, In My Room. That's probably one of my favorite synth pop songs ever. It's very quirky, but I've always dug it from the first time. That's the song that drew me to these guys, not their popular songs. When I heard that record and that song came on, it's like, man, I friggin' dig these guys. But of course, another Alison Moyet in this case. She's got a fantastic voice. Speaking of Iggy Pop, I mentioned earlier, this is one of his later releases. This went on sale. Sometimes I watch these sales on Amazon, and it dropped significantly. It was down to like under $20, which is rare these days, especially here in Canadian dollars. So I grabbed it, and this is a release from 2023. I really dig it. It's all Iggy Pop. There's no mistaking who it is in all his splendor. You know, like he doesn't. He just, yeah, one of my favorites. So yeah, I can't really. It's sometimes harder to talk about the artists that we enjoy the most, because maybe I'm more of a, what's the right word, a gatekeeper? No, that's not it. More protective of those artists that I really dig. So I don't maybe speak about them as much, which seems to be maybe a paradox, but I really dig Iggy Pop. So glad to get that one. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I don't have any mic clipped on or anything. It's just the camera phone there, the phone. This is the reissue, recently came out. Buckingham Nicks. I always had this on CD, and I remember one of my brothers having it. I don't know if it was on vinyl or 8-track or something, but I think this is an essential. Pre-Fleetwood Mac for both of these artists, Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. I think Lindsey Buckingham is one of those artists, guitarists, songwriters that is not, maybe they're talked about more now because of this release, like recently, and I mean very recent, the last year or so, when talk was of a reissue coming. And then maybe it depends on what you're watching on YouTube as well. Maybe that's just speaks more about me and the channels I watch more. But yeah, it's really good to have that. This one I may have shown before, but this is a different copy. The one I got originally, I showed it, but then I realized after a couple of plays, it just didn't sound very good. So I got another copy. This one does sound good. So it's a Tragically Hip Phantom Power. So yeah, it definitely had a lot of noise, a lot of surface noise on it. In fact, one of the tracks, Fireworks, it starts off, I think, side 3, the first song on the second disc, I think it is. Yeah, it had a big scratch on it that I hadn't really noticed, and but anyway, that's neither here nor there. I sent it back. I got another one, 2017 reissue, but originally came out in 1998. Band out of Canada. Maybe a lot of you are not even aware of them, but yeah, they had a huge catalog, and rest in peace, Gord passed away from a brain tumor. And this just came out too, Zeppelin Live, the EP. Awesome. Of course, you've got the, it's not an LP, but it kind of is when you think about the length of the songs, but there's only 4 songs. In My Time of Dying is worth the price of this alone for me. Just one of my favorite Zeppelin tunes ever. And hearing it live here, live from Earl's Court in 75. So they were on the Physical Graffiti tour, Trample Underfoot live in Earl's Court 75, and then Sick Again from Nebworth, and Kashmir from Nebworth as well in 79. So amazing. So stoked to have this. I hope this is actually a precursor to maybe a larger release coming live, a double album or something. I've heard others maybe mention their hope is in line with that as well. These guys I've had since this came out, and this would have been early 2001, but it's Chevelle. Wonder what's next. Just got it on vinyl, but I've had it on CD since it came out, as I just mentioned. I dig them. It's definitely that alternative. Some might even say alternative metal. I don't know, but yeah, it's heavy, but it's alternate rock, maybe even to some. I've heard some people compare the vocal style to Maynard on certain songs, and I can see that. They were huge Tool fans, these guys. So when did this one come out? I'm just trying to find it. 2002, I believe. Yeah. So Pete is on vocal guitars, Joe on bass and vocal, and Sam on drums. Yeah, Chevelle, if you've not heard them, I don't know how to describe what to expect. It's easy just to check them out nowadays on YouTube, stream, whatever. It's a good starting point, though, I would suggest. But I like most of their stuff. I've got a lot of their stuff on compact disc, actually. So, and then I showed these in a thread I was doing, but I'm going to show them again because I never officially showed them as new albums, but the debut by Glenn Danzig. And this is an unofficial, but I got it at that 33 store down in Mount Royal, and it's amazing. This is what Danzig went on to do after Misfits, and I'd always heard of Misfits, but never really followed Sam Heiner and Misfit Danzig. So 1988, produced by Rick Rubin. It's on that pink vinyl. What do they call this? They call it fan source or something like that. It's unofficial, but it does sound really good, so I'm fine with that. And then I got the second one as well, because they had them both there. Danzig 2, Le Sauvage, I guess. I always am and prone to put a French spin on that, just the way it's spelled. Lucifuge, Le Sauvage, or Lucifuge. I don't know. I tend to say Lucifuge. Danzig 2, yeah, 1990. This one came out, so yeah, the second album. Good stuff. I've got probably 5 of their albums now, and I will keep pursuing more of it because I really dig them. And this is not the newer one that came out with the full new album cover, the original album cover, but it is not an unofficial one either. This one is an official, I believe. Yeah, so Mad Season, 1995, this one. For those who don't know, Lane Staley, of course, from Alice in Chains, who passed away in 2002, got together with the bass player from the Walkabouts and Mike McCready and Barrett Martin, Screaming Trees, Pearl Jam, those guys. So great album, great I was going to say compilation, not compilation. Great, geez, I'm having a brain cramp. It's a great album. That's what I'm trying to say. Shit. Another UFO I added to my collection, probably about 6 months ago now, thereabouts, but the reissues are fantastic. So no heavy petting. Love this one. This is the one that was 1976. I know this is a reissue quite recently, 2023, with the 3 records. I've got Obsession. I've got Phenomena, thanks to Steve and his contest. I've got Force It and Lights Out. So yeah, I've got almost the essentials, but I like all the UFO. I was just saying that to Gary. He went to see Michael Schenker, different vocalist, doesn't have Mog, but good album, essential UFO in my opinion. Love it, and it's got some stuff on here. The 3 LP, it's a pretty hefty pack, but you get some live stuff that you didn't get in previous cases, and it's got these nice sleeves with the original recording notes and whatnot, and the studio notes. And oh yeah, it's a trifold, that's right, it opens this way. Now my video is getting long, so you know what, I'm not going to sweat it. Whatever, it is what it is. It's just going to be in my playlist of recent pickups, show and tell, nobody's vault but mine. So hell with it, it'll take as long as it takes. I'm almost to the end anyway. So great album. Can't listen to that one enough. I just got so many records that sometimes becomes a problem. What do I want to listen to? I think somebody did a video on that recently too. It sometimes becomes harder to make a decision because there's so many I want to listen to. And then yeah, this is the last one, Godsmack, Awake. This would be their technically their third. Most would say their second, but no, they did have one prior to their debut. I think All Wound Up. But most people think the self-titled one, just Godsmack, was their debut. This one was 2000. But yeah, it's I dig these guys. I always have. It's good that early millennium lumped in with that new metal. I wouldn't lump it in with that personally, but I just like to get that good heavy sound, good heavy. It's metal. It's definitely metal. What I guch subgenre of metal it is, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I don't listen to or purchase my music based on what genre it is anymore. Been there, done that. That's what I did back in the 80s, and to my detriment. There's so much good music that I missed out, being that narrow-minded, in my opinion, of only listening to one genre of music, and it was essentially metal and nothing. And in many cases, looking back, not even good metal. I don't know. That's almost sacrilege to say that. There's just so much good music. But anyway, those are another group of recent pickups for Nobody's Vault But Mine here at Twanger's Turntable. 35 of them I went through here, and those sleeves, as I mentioned, if you need some and you're okay with these type of outer sleeves, I've got tons, and I don't want to throw them away, so I'd rather send them off to somebody that can use them. Otherwise, at some point, I may end up taking them into a record store and see if they want them, see if I get some in-store credit. They're not that valuable in that regard, so hard to say. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was a long one. That's just the way it had to be for this episode, episode 8, and I hope to get another episode done. I'm actually almost through the pile. I've got maybe another 40 or 50 to go, and then I'll be caught up until next year. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I enjoyed doing this. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Leave a comment about any of these or all of them or whatever. And I'll see you next time here at Twanger's Turntable. Until then, cheers, take care, and have a good one.